Act. Both individuals were taken into custody by officers of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service and underwent standard processing procedure. Following receipt of the warrants, officers of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service acted in accordance with the legal mandate and executed the arrests without delay. The issuance of the warrants follows judicial authorization for the arrests as part of ongoing legal proceedings initiated by the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. In other news, residents of West Moorings were heavily impacted by a tornado which tore through several homes and severely damaged the roofs of at least 9 families on Tuesday. Residents along St. Anthony's Drive and Cherry Crescent were most impacted. Some of the homes were impacted by large tree branches falling on the roofs. Local Government Minister Khadija Amin visited the scene and said this has caused severe trauma to the affected families. Due to the accompanying heavy rainfall, the possessions in the impacted homes were also damaged. So far, there have not been any reports of deaths or severe injury. And the acting prisons commissioner says while adjustments to the legislation are necessary for the deployment of army personnel within prisons, stationing them outside can bring immediate benefits. On Monday, Homeland Security Minister Roger Alexander told CNC3 News that his ministry is considering the use of Defence Force to monitor prisons as part of a wider plan to reform this system. Prisons Officers Association President Gerard Gordon said the proposal to bolster personnel is welcomed. On Tuesday, Hayden Ford said the move is a step in the right direction and can aid in the effort to curb the growing issue of drone drops.
Depending on how persons are deployed, the perimeter may not necessarily be just around the prison, but further afield where persons will be operating drones. So it's quite possible that that as well can be a major deterrent for drone pilots, that they may not want to come close to the prison to try to operate these drones.
Well, those were 6 a.m. news headlines. We'll have another news update at the top of the hour right here on CNC3 and the TBC Radio Network.
The Morning Brew is brought to you by Omega XL. Live long, stay strong.
Good Wednesday morning, Trinidad and Tobago, running into your brand new day. Today, Wednesday, the 8th of October, 2025. And what a day it is. Lots to unpack based on some of the occurrences from yesterday on the political side and indeed via our weather. And in that regard, Jean-Marc will join me very early to unpack what was an unprecedented phenomenon. Water sprout turning into clearly a mini tornado and causing major damage yesterday in the northwest. West Moorings to be exact, and indeed we will get some more details. We'll also hear from the Member of Parliament for the area, Hans Devines, to give us the latest as to the recovery and what assistance will be rendered to those who would have been impacted. Jason Williams signing on. Great to, as always, be in your company. Yes, JW with you till 8 a.m. on this Wednesday. Let's see what's happening via the front page of the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian. On the political side, David Lee charged again, and the Prime Minister stands by the embattled Housing Minister as the DPP reopens vehicle tax exemption fraud case. Now, he would have beat this case. This case, well, I remember it was kind of dismissed, came up during the election and it was dismissed. And he was, of course, going ahead with his business. But again, this particular, well, scenario, it's almost like a dark cloud over Mr. Lee's head. He's rearrested on the fraud charges. And I guess we will see as to what will transpire, what kind of support will be given during this most tumultuous time for Mr. Lee. The Prime Minister says, obviously, she will stand with him. She said he would have, well, kind of paraphrasing here. He beat the case already and they will, give him his moment to have his day in court. I mean, we would have seen scenarios like this before, if we recall Jack Warner, I recall Marlene McDonald, well, deceased. She, well, had to step down, I remember, and former Energy Minister Eric Williams. A couple of folks, while in office, you know, scenarios came up and some had to kind of step back. Many continued in their particular role and function. I mean, this is not England. Huh? They just have to, when you look at the UK and other democracies, it's just a whiff, just a sneeze of a charge, and people immediately resign, they fade to black, they step away. Here, folks, they hold on, and we'll see how things pan out in this regard. Of course, also, he's a front bencher in Parliament. Parliament is obviously in session on Friday, so we'll see if indeed his seat remains very close to the Prime Minister, and if indeed he will maintain his ministerial role and function. But again, as everyone knows, you are given your day in court. Yes, charges will come up on anyone, minister to mason, but you should be given your due process. I believe in due process, and I think everyone deserves their day in court so they can answer to whatever charges, and they could put their case forward and let the system, the court system, the judicial system make a determination. Unfortunately, we take a long time to get a result, so let's see if things pan out, well, how things pan out regarding this case in the days, weeks, and clearly months ahead. So that's a big story. It's, of course, on page 5, but the story that really had everyone talking yesterday, I was getting called from all overseas, all friends in Jamaica, touching base. Jay, have a tornado in Trinidad? I was like, tornado? I say, how did I get that news before me? Then I went on to the CNC3 Instagram page, and I saw it in real time. And in certain WhatsApp groups, this was, I mean, we're talking about people were on top of it as it was going on. Let's put some of the footage up. This is amateur footage here. I remember looking at this video, and we saw the power of nature. One day I always tell you, let nature take its course. I mean, this is a roof that obviously took probably weeks, months to build. You know, I'm sure lots of work years ago went into putting that roof down on the house, and it was gone in seconds. And you know, a roof, you know, cheap undertaking. A roof is one of, when we're talking about building a house, that's one of the expensive, that's one of the top spends. And you're looking at the debris littered across the road there. I must say, I saw a great response from all the relevant authorities. The minister was on the ground immediately. We saw the member of parliament on the ground, right? That's Cherry Crescent there in the Westmoreland area. About 12 homes impacted, and many had to, well, sleep somewhere else last night. I saw them bring a tarpaulin, the blue tarpaulin, but how much could, I mean, tarpaulin, I mean, it's at least a little covering, but they will have to indeed immediately start putting things in place to put a roof over your head, and, you know, literally. And that's the water spout there that went from the sea onto land. Now, Jamark, via the news last night, was able to give us some more details, explain this phenomenon yesterday. And I did not even know there's a particular scale, there's a particular measuring chart when it comes to tornadoes with, I think, it's almost like a hurricane. There's a kind of category 5. I don't think they call it category 5. He will give, of course, all the details. But it was somewhere between 0 and 1. So this was still very much very minor in terms of the kind of damage it could have really rest down yesterday. And yes, there was, as you could see, you're seeing for yourself, lots of damage. All right, you've seen Jamark in the background there. We saw the minister earlier. That's the member of parliament on screen. So everybody, all hands on deck. Everybody went down yesterday trying to help out. And of course, there was lots of rain too while all this was happening. And even further inland, we're talking here Williamsville, they would have been impacted by some severe flooding yesterday also. So the rain certainly did some damage, and well, in the case of the Northwest, coupled by a tornado. So details concerning that development during the course of this first hour. On a quick note regarding the budget, well, it's official, the 13th, that is Monday. The budget will be laid down, the government's first fiscal package. Many will be tuning in. And in terms of our lineup, on Monday, it's a very extensive coverage. We're starting with the Morning Brew. Yours truly will take you through it on Monday, bright and early from 6 to 8. We got our midday news with Bhavita Gopal-Chan. She will take us through some of the developments at 12 p.m. Then later on, from 12:15 to about 1:45, my colleague Ryan Beatrice steps in for the pre-budget special. Then we will hear in real time the budget, the live reading of the 2026 fiscal package, the budget presentation. Minister Tanku will stand and deliver what many will be looking at as one of the most pivotal budgets in recent history. Of course, we'll have the news at 7, shortened version from 7 to 7:30 with Ria Rambali, Jesse Marique, and Jamak Rampasad, and from 7:30 till 9. Yes, a marathon session there with Ryan Beatrice. With some of the talking heads, I'm seeing ministers, I'm seeing ex-ministers, economists, folks from the energy sector. A nice lineup. All the details, a matter of fact, here via the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian, page 13. So Monday, extensive budget coverage right here on your number one source for news and current affairs, CNC3. Let's head now to the back page, touch on some sport. And Lara calls for passion amidst West Indies' on-field struggles and financial woes. And of course, you know, when Lara speaks, he's a man that when he don't talk much, but when Lara talk, people listen. And, you know, Brian, I share the sentiment. I call for passion. I also call for purpose. I call for purpose. I call for a sense of pride also, coupled with the passion. It's a beautiful article here. And, of course, we got his words and Brian giving some perspective on our recent lack of form as well, especially when it comes to the test. I don't know if we do have the patience, the mental capacity. I don't know what is the stumbling block. We tend to excel, or we do pretty okay in the 2020 format. The 1 day, a little shaky on life support, but test dead. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. You know, from the fans going out to see the test to the performance of the players. I don't know. People just like they don't have the time, and like the players don't have the patience. I don't know what's going on. But nonetheless, page 38, beautiful write-up there. And we thank Lara for giving some perspective. Well, World Cup qualifying action on Friday. For the entire week, you recognize I'm talking about it. This is, when I tell you, one of the most pivotal, crucial. It's a must-win. And I believe we would get the points. Again, you can't underestimate. You never underestimate your opponent. Bermuda, no footballing powerhouse by any stretch of the imagination, but on any given day, anything could happen. And they are also to the bottom of the group, so they're looking on home ground to at least kickstart their particular World Cup campaign. They have no points after 2 games. We have 1 point. You know, a matter of fact, no, Bermuda, they're shaky, very shaky. And we going into this knowing that anything less than a win, it's going to be almost a miracle to get us across there to the World Cup. So it's a must-win on Friday, and then we leave Bermuda on a charter, head across to Curacao. And Curacao, if you notice, playing a decent brand of football right about now. So that Curacao game is going to be another critical one. And then once we get past the Curacao with the 3 points, keeping fingers and toes crossed, and we're praying for that, then we bring the action home and we end the qualifiers at home. And I hope with the momentum of a victory, not 1 but 2, we could really come out and lend our voice against Jamaica in November, and then the final game against Bermuda. So critical time ahead. And again, we wish Coach Dwight York and our Chargers the very best going into the business end of World Cup qualifying for 2026. Let's head to the brief, and what a full moon it was. Listen, you see yesterday morning, a matter of fact, even the night, Sunday night, oh, that was a moon. They call it the harvest moon, apparently. And it was, I mean, we're talking here in full glow. A super moon cast the final light over the Gulf of Paria. I must say, yes, get some real nice sunsets. and some full moons there in the Gulf of Paris. You see that Mosquito Creek, that stretch? Oh my goodness. Anybody on the western side of the country, obviously, you know, our friends in Chagaramas and Caranage and all down in Carcass too, Erin. Sometimes you get it nice there on the beach. And then, of course, there is a beauty in a sunrise. So Mayaro and these places on the east, they really get the majesty of a sunrise and a sun. Well, you know, you get, according to where you are, you get your sunrise and then you get your sunset. But nonetheless, when it comes to the weather, that is a force that you have to let it be. And like yesterday, we saw it in real time. People did not know what to do. They just had to let it take its course, throw up their hands, and then after, we're dealing with the fall off, the damage. And I know many are stepping in to render assistance, and all those yesterday, today, and in the days to come. We want to thank you in advance for all your assistance and your help. Much is needed for all the families and the folks impacted. Jamark, he's stepping in to shed some more light to tell us, again in detail, as to how that transpired. We'll go through the scale also. He gave some details with that last night in the news. So by all means, stick around. Great first hour ahead. Our weather update with Jamark Rampasad up next.
Gaming Express Limited is a premium importer and retailer of the highest quality brand name electronics. We stock the widest range of PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, Samsung, and Apple devices and accessories. Visit us at Shop 52, Level 2, Gulf City Mall in San Fernando, or contact us by phone or WhatsApp message at 687-7480 or 301-9797 or 798-1280. Like our Facebook and Instagram pages for updates on products and services. Magical Expressions Limited is the largest local importer and distributor of fresh cut stems, offering the widest range of beautiful flowers at the most affordable prices. Call us today at 701-6488, 701-6680, 728-6786, or visit our website to order.
Diwali specials at Food Basket, Arima, Chaguanas, Champlain, and Gulfview. Nestle reconstituted 1 liter milk, 2 for $24.95. Nestle's green butterfly milk, 250 ml, 3 for $18.95. Good and natural cream of wheat, $14.95. Potatoes, 10 pounds for $20. Onions, 4 pounds for $9.95. Supercow full cream milk powder, 800 gram, $37.95. Shub Diwali from Food Basket. 4 locations: Arima, Champlain, Chaguanas, and Gulfview.
The detergent smells nice while washing, but when you use the new Downy Intense fabric softener, with its new multi-capsule fragrance, it releases an intense scent that lasts twice as long. With the new Downy Intense, you'll enjoy a rich and delightful fragrance that keeps you feeling fresh 24/7.
Let the divine lights of the deers bring victory over darkness into your life. Happy Diwali to all. A message from Kaleidoscope Paints Limited.
Visit Tire Clinic Marketing, New Truck and OTR Tire Service Center at number 30 and 32 Montrose Main Road, Chaguanas. Call today at 665-8973 or 672-3419. Alignment services available. Tire Clinic Marketing, Truck and OTR Service Center. A tire for every need.
Join Pastor Gino Jennings for our second Trinidad and Tobago Holy Convocation at the Centerpoint Mall, Centrum Auditorium, 325 Ramsaran Street, Chaguanas, Trinidad. Services are Saturday, October 11th at 6 p.m. and Sunday, October 12th at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. Again, Centerpoint Mall, 325 Ramsaran Street, Chaguanas, Trinidad. Saturday, October 11th at 6 p.m. and Sunday, October 12th at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. For information, call 267-989-9189.
Meteorologist and weather anchor Jamark Rampasad joins us on the Zoom line to unpack what we saw yesterday. Many left with their, left literally with their jaw more or less to the ground, because when the footage started coming in, and again the calls started to pile up, people were asking from far and wide what's going on and we would have seen incidents in the past. I recall the story of Redman some years ago. Matter of fact, we found Redman. That was a story that went viral in the central area. I think Cunupia, if I'm not mistaken. And we have seen incidents over the years, but this was, at least based on memory, the first time I could recall such major damage with a weather event, a water sprout that turned into clearly a tornado. And we are seeing here in real time extreme damage, a roof gone in seconds. I mean, debris littered there on the street, and many having to find resources this morning and start the process of rebuilding. Jamak, let me say thank you for the time. I know when we see you bright and early, it's clearly a weather event, and yesterday was an event. Trust and believe. Good morning to you.
Hi, morning. Yes, definitely a day and a half yesterday in terms of the weather and its impact. It wasn't just a rainy season day, it was a bit more severe than that, especially the thunderstorm over northwestern Trinidad. It was able to spawn what was initially a water spout, which developed somewhere near along the coastline in the Gulf of Paria, somewhere between West Shore Medical and West Mall. And then it made its way overland, however, in a weakened state, so you didn't really see any damage between the coastline, West Mall, crossing the Western Main Road, West Park Savannah. You didn't see any sort of damage in those areas. But then the surface winds sort of strengthened a bit, and you started to see a bit of vortex and damage. And the southernmost instance of the damage was probably the bus shed along the Western Main Road. That's near the West Moorings intersection. And just behind that bus shed, there's a little park, and then there's St. Anthony's Drive, which is where the first roof was ripped off of the structure. And there was scattered other instances of damage within that Northwest Moorings area. And the entire ordeal lasted maybe just maximum 10 minutes from the time it came on land from the coast to the time it impacted the Northwest Moorings area and then quickly dissipated. Sure. So this sort of thing is actually very rare. We see water spouts all the time.
And in that regard, Jamak, what conditions must be at play for a water spout to even develop, and more so for the water spout to turn into what we experienced yesterday?
So the water spouts are common, right? Especially in the Gulf of Paria, you already have this sort of convergence of the winds, which will cause some rotation in the Gulf of Paria. But yesterday you had a severe thunderstorm in the mix as well. And, once it provides that updraft or that lift, that rotating column of air, that was the difference. And that's what caused the rare occurrence yesterday. And it's even rarer for the water spouts to sustain these winds once it makes its way over land. And, the forces aligned yesterday, and that's what happened. Based on the enhanced Fujita scale, which is the scale they use in the United States, it was most likely an EF0 tornado. Some of the damage we observed may have been EF1, but, this scale that they use in the United States is also based on their strict building codes. Ours aren't enforced as well as in the United States. So I'll probably maintain the EF0 rating. Yeah, and that's a scale that's what you mentioned in the news last evening, because I know the equivalent for, let's say, hurricanes, you have a category 5, which is the strongest of them all, and that is, we're talking here, total damage. And I recognize there's also a EF5 on that scale. Is it a similar scenario? The 5 indicates total destruction? Yes, similar scales, when you speak of the enhanced Fujita compared to the Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale, right? But the EF scale runs from 0 to 5, right? It's very rare to see an EF5 tornado, well, as opposed to a Saffir-Simpson hurricane category 5. We see those almost every year now, especially with climate change. But, the EF0 tornado yesterday, it was on the lower end of the scale, so a relatively weak tornado. And I use the word weak in relative terms, not being insensitive to any of the damage caused. But it has happened a handful of times in the past over Trinidad. But with the growth of social media, camera phones, etc., the these incidents are becoming increasingly well documented. So I was able yesterday to piece together exactly what happened. You know, there was no one video which showed you exactly what happened from coastline to northwest mooring.
And based on your piecing together, that's how you came up with the water sprout that went onto land and was able to just develop strength and make it into the housing area there in West Moorings?
Yes, correct. Correct. It took me a while because there was no data between the coastline in terms of video and northwest moorings. So you had to kind of figure out, you know, was this a tornado that started in northwest moorings and then moved offshore and then continued as a water spout, or vice versa? And then based on everything you could gather, satellite image, radar images, eyewitness accounts, because I was actually on the scene, you know, interviewing people, asking them what they saw, what direction it came from, where they saw the roof flying off first, and, you know, all of that information, you kind of built a trajectory of the path of the tornado.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that you know, boots on the ground in the midst of it all. What firsthand, based on your observation, kind of damage you saw? Anything there, when you saw the destruction, it really made you say, wow, this was intense?
Yes, definitely. I don't think I've seen anything like it in Trinidad. You know, we're accustomed to seeing, you know, straight line winds or gusts from thunderstorms, which blow several roofs at a point in time. But this was an entire community. You know, usually with the thunderstorms, we see a couple houses, you know, in a row, roofs blown. But some of these roofs were well constructed, and, you know, the tornado just peeled them right off of the structures, you know. All of the ring beams still intact onto the galvanized and completely ripped off in one case.
My goodness. I guess I would imagine it's really impossible to predict something like that. I mean, it's not like we could, based on weather mapping and looking at trends, no one could really anticipate when something like that will take place again.
So if we compare it to the United States, you know, because that's generally the standard in the Western Hemisphere, they have the appropriate technology. They have their dual polarized radars. Ours isn't quite as advanced. We do have a Doppler radar in central Trinidad, but the sort of resolution and, I should say, precision that we will get from that radar may not allow us to detect these things as quickly and as accurately as we would like. You know, I know there have been talks to upgrade that radar by the TT Met service, but there has been nothing yet. So hopefully these sorts of events could spur on some action on the political front as well. Indeed.
And so even Williamsville, residents there would have been impacted yesterday with some severe flooding in the Southland. And with that, what's in store for the rest of the week and more so today?
So yes, well, just to continue from yesterday, there was also flooding at Maracas Bay. The road was entirely flooded, impassable, and that was also due in part to the spring tides. Remember, I heard you talking about the full moon earlier. Now, this is the negative aspect of it. We have the higher than normal high tide, so when you get those severe thunderstorms, the water takes a lot longer to run off, and it just pooled in, you know, the road in Maracas Bay. And similar case in Williamsville in southern Trinidad. You know, we had the intense downpour there as well. Some areas were flooded, and while yesterday's activity was very intense, we're not expecting that intensity again today. However, we can still expect the thunderstorms, so pre-time flash flooding still possible, however, not on the scale that we saw yesterday. So we'll still get the hot and sunny morning across most areas, and then by lunchtime into the early afternoon, we can see the thunderstorms develop, favoring the western coastline of Trinidad.
Really quick.
Just looking ahead a bit, as we have Tropical Storm Jerry off to our east, we are not expecting to be directly impacted by it, but it will indirectly influence our weather later on in the week on Thursday and Friday, so we'll have continuing wet conditions.
Jamak, again, sincere thanks as always. You know, let's keep those impacted yesterday in prayer, and we hope that the relevant authorities will render assistance and folks could get their lives back to a place of normalcy, because to lose your roof, I mean, it's just a random Tuesday, you're just home, and to get a call or to be there, that is traumatic, I can only imagine.
Yes, thank you for having me again, Jason.
All the best. Jean-Marc Rampersad touching base with us, meteorologist and our weather anchor. We come back and touch base with the Member of Parliament for Diego Martin West, Hans de Vins. He joins us via the phone to speak on the response and relief efforts. Member of Parliament, Hans de Vins, up next.
Has a massive sale on roofing materials, including standing seam. Invest in durable roofing sheets at unbeatable prices. Choose our supply and installation package and enjoy huge savings on your roof. Quality materials, quality prices, quality workmanship. Our name says it all. Built to last, for roofing that is built to last. We will not be beaten on price. Enjoy free delivery and free roll forming on standing seam and guttering on site. Call us now, 355-7703.
Southern Food Basket. Quality food to fill your basket. Get it all at Southern Food Basket. Fresh goods on every aisle with best prices. For the best market around. High quality meat pound for pound. Get the best for less. Start shopping. Go to Southern Food Basket. Shopping how you like it. High quality at the best prices. Every aisle just wide and spacious. So spend less at Southern Food Basket. Good food at great prices for sure. Come get what you're looking for.
This Diwali, let fasting be a pleasure with Desi Treat plant-based veggie chicken range, curry, stew, bake, fry, or barbecue. Enjoy being a vegan and enjoy living that healthy lifestyle this Diwali and beyond with Desi Treats high protein, no added preservatives, low-fat meat alternatives, available in drumsticks, tenders, and mock chicken options. Being a vegan has never been more versatile and easy. Available at select locations nationwide.
Victor, why are you still living with bad odors? Instantly refresh your spaces with Febreze. Smell like leftover fried food? Instant freshness. Febreze, your home smelling fresh and clean. Find the limited edition at your favorite store or supermarket.
High blood pressure doesn't wait, and neither should you. Aja Nutrition's blood pressure support is crafted with a clinical strength blend to help you take control naturally. Gentle on the body, powerful for your heart. Blood pressure support by Aja Nutrition. Naturally strong.
Member of Parliament for Diego Martin West, Hans de Vins joins me on the phone line to give us the latest and to speak to the relief and the response efforts based on yesterday's weather phenomenon, that tornado watersprout that turned into this tornado that impacted so many within his constituency. Hans, good morning to you. Welcome.
Good morning, Jason. Thank you for having me, and good morning to the entire Morning Brew team. Rough one yesterday, but we're here today and we have life, and we're thankful for that.
Hans, where were you when you heard of the, you got the call or would have seen it on social media, and what was your initial reaction when you got there on the scene? Because I saw on the footage that you were boots on the ground on the, well, I have to call it ground zero, that particular area where all the roofs went flying.
Okay, so I was actually in office at the point in time. We, much like everyone else, or most people, saw the social media footage, and there were immediate calls to representatives from the Diego Martin Borough Corporation, our councillor for that area, Keynes, and then there were also direct conversations with individuals in terms of emergency and disaster relief. That is how it went, you know. And as soon as the rain gave a slight ease, and it seemed safe, I immediately went to the site.
I saw other, obviously representatives there, more so the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Khadija Amin. I saw members from clearly the Diego Martin Borough Council. More so, what was the conversation like with the minister? Did she give any commitment to, relief and support in that regard?
Honestly, there was no real commitment, so to speak, from the minister.
But you all spoke. You all spoke yesterday, obviously.
Yes, of course we spoke yesterday. Of course, there was no firm commitment. What I can tell you is when I got there, we already started making the calls. The Borough Corporation, the Diego Martin Borough Corporation already lays the Star Regional Corporation as well as the Port of Spain Corporation to render some level of assistance. We already spoke to the disaster management unit. We had TN-Tech on board. We had the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Service. We also had the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service on board to just ensure that everything can happen and the things that need to be taken care of in this emergency could have been taken care of. She did mention that, a lot of the people on the streets, they have insurance and they'll be taken care of. And, we really need in these situations to speak to each individual on the street and understand their particular plight. Yes, there may be some people with insurance. Yes, there may be some people that can afford immediate repairs. But the truth is, everyone's circumstance is different. Although we may live in the same neighborhood, my circumstance maybe I may have inherited a property and I may not have the financial resources to fix my property, and I may not have homeowners insurance to the level that can provide for this specific type of disaster, because again, this is not something that we would expect in Trinidad and Tobago. So for now, what I am appealing for is help for the residents, and some business people have stepped forward and said they are willing to help. So today I go back to the community and discuss with members of the community if they need help, how can we help? And, it's connecting the businesses with the people that need help, wherever it may be in Diego Martin West. It's about really helping the constituents and creating that environment of the best Diego Martin West. Again, looking at these images, it was a very unfortunate event, but we are very thankful for the fact that no lives were lost, no human injury. We came out of this safe. It is just that we need to get our lives back on stream for those affected. I mean, you would appreciate that a lot of the people, they had to move, whether it be appliances or just general belongings to their neighbors' residence, having to relocate to a relative's house overnight. Just to get through the night, so to speak. I really want to commend the security agency, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, as well as, the neighborhood watch. There were security services throughout the night. And when you look at the service and monitoring from the mayor, who is Pakila Glasgow Warner, and Councillor Amber Keynes, they were there up to 10 o'clock last night.
Let me ask you, Hans, the blue tarpaulin and the men that we saw literally on the ground putting in that work immediately, they came from where exactly? Right,
so some came from private citizens, but some also did come from the disaster management unit of the Diego Martin Borough Corporation, and through their efforts. Like the truth is, Jason, when something like this happens, yes, we have our first responders in terms of all the security agencies, but the first responder is quite often your neighbor. And that's what we saw. We saw a neighborhood coming together. There's a young man from the other side of Western Circular that came across, and he said, I saw the situation, and I'm just here to help clean up. Yeah. And that's what it is. It's about community. Quite often, being the ones to respond.
Being your brother's keeper, you know, indeed.
Yes, of course.
Hans, as we wrap things up, is there any particular number, any space someone can go to if they want to render assistance and to get involved as we wrap things up this morning?
All right. So if one wants to render assistance, I do offer my office number, 612-3694. That's the office for the Member of Parliament for Diego Martin West, 612-3694. But again, I just want to remind all residents of Diego Martin West and Diego Martin on a whole, should there be any emergencies, your first point of contact is the Diego Martin Borough Corporation's emergency hotline, which is 800 DMRC. We are in the rainy season, and we know the weather can have definite effects on us, so we urge you to be, hurricane ready, whether it is having the relevant supplies, exit plans, and just different strategies for getting through an emergency.
Indeed. Sincere thanks for touching base with us and giving us the latest. Member of Parliament there for Diego Martin West, Mr. Hans Devines. All the best, Hans, and keep us posted.
Thank you. God bless Jason, and God bless Trinidad and Tobago.
That's right. So again, all hands on deck. Neighbors chipping in, everybody trying to chip in to assist those who would have been impacted yesterday by that freak storm and tornado. We move now into the budget conversation, and touching base with me, the president of the Supermarket Association of Trinidad and Tobago. He steps in next as we discuss rising food costs and the food import bill. Very important discussion ahead.
Your one-stop, most convenient, most helpful, most caring community pharmacy. Our pharmaceutical services include dispensing medicines, repeat dispensing, clinical governance, but we also have a fully stocked convenience store featuring our refreshment aisle, grocery lane, personal care products, toys, pet supplies. We are most conveniently located out of the traffic, just 2 minutes off the highway in Heartland Plaza, Endeavour, Chaguanas. Contact us on 220-8705 or 470-5938 and visit us soon.
Do you think all dishwashing soaps are the same? With some, they require more effort, and they don't wash as much. Try Dawn and discover its grease cleaning power. Dawn removes stubborn grease easier and faster than others. Additionally, it foam lasts 50% more. With Dawn, you use less product to clean more dishes and save with every wash. Dawn, triple grease cleaning power.
Join Pastor Gino Jennings for our second Trinidad and Tobago Holy Convocation at the Centerpoint Mall, Centrum Auditorium, 325 Ramsaran Street, Chaguanas, Trinidad. Services are Saturday, October 11th at 6 p.m. and Sunday, October 12th at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. Again, Centerpoint Mall, 325 Ramsaran Street, Chaguanas, Trinidad. Saturday, October 11th at 6 p.m. and Sunday, October 12th at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. For information, call 267-989-9189.
Let the divine lights of the Dias bring victory over darkness into your life. Happy Diwali to all. A message from Kaleidoscope Paints Limited.
Would you recommend this product to younger people?
Age doesn't really matter. So I think if I was 17, 18 and I get introduced to these products, I would maybe be Superman. So
More Superman?
More Superman.
Absolutely outstanding.
President of the Supermarket Association of Trinidad and Tobago, President Brew. He joins me on the Zoom line to give us details, recommendations, as we prepare for Budget Day on Monday. President Brew, great to see you as always, and thanks for the time.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Let me ask you, because the budget is around the corner, and what recommendation, or at least what you would like to hear, so that we could enhance our food security and depend less on the imports, because I know a major part of our spend is really on food, and lots of it is to do with luxury items and some of the fancy items from foreign. Our palate clearly changed over the years, but what can be done on the local side to ensure that there is less dependency on these foreign products, if at all that is possible?
So what we'll be looking towards the budget to see is the plans for the agriculture and agribusiness sector to move away from importation in that way. So support in terms of grants, tax incentives, and how it plays out from the moment the crop is grown to primary processing and taking products further in the market. Growing more tomatoes in of itself will not affect import substitution in that way, but it's how that product could then move across the value chain and be turned into something that's usable by consumers.
Yeah, indeed. What are supermarkets doing to treat with the rising costs? And again, it's not a Trinidad and Tobago phenomenon. I recognize when I talk to family and friends in the U.S. and other parts of the Caribbean, it seems like food everywhere is going up. And what I've noticed actually is lots of shrinkage and more or less supermarkets adapting and kind of giving you sometimes what you would have gotten like the corner parlor shop by Miss Elsie or Uncle Boyo. I see supermarkets more or less adjusting and giving consumers that kind of option, as it were.
So part of the solution is diversification of supply, feeding into the industry products from atypical areas from history. So new brands coming into the space to substitute what we would have known from more expensive parts of the world, as well as you just mentioned, meeting people where they are and packaging and repackaging products within the ecosystem of the supermarket to allow for more affordable sizing and packaging. So an example, I suppose, smaller cuts of cheese, peanut butter that's bulk packed, then redistributed into smaller quantities, for example, or fruits.
Mm-hmm. So a budget, break it down for us, because I know everyone looking on and there are other sectors and obviously areas where there's going to be lots of focus and concern, but I believe food security, I mean, the basic when the day comes around is for us to eat, and many get their supply and get their ingredients from the said grocery. What you like to see, what recommendation, if you could talk to the finance minister this morning, what you would advise as it pertains to pricing, where we should keep, what items we should keep definitely at a particular base price and not bring any kind of increase, as it were, in this current economic climate.
So what we would like to see is staples stay as low as possible, and any motions by the government to intervene in that space locally to enhance local growing and production of those products. So what we would like to see are grants or tax incentives into the space for farmers locally, and accessible grants, so to say. It's one thing to have a program or policy that is intended to stimulate food production. It's a whole other thing to have it be accessible in the way that it's applied or accessed by the farmers themselves. So metrics as well to see over the course of the year, once the budget is implemented, to see if these policies are actually being uptaken by the group it's intended to help.
As a strong lobbying voice, do you all get any kind of do you all get a dialogue with the ministers? Do you all send correspondence? Do you all send your recommendations in real time to let them know, listen, we represent the Supermarket Association, we represent, a major player, the voice really of our consumers also. Walk me through that kind of discussion. Do you all get stuff across to the ministers?
I do believe that most BSOs within the country have access to different line ministers to recommend things in the budget. We would have put forward a proposal to the ministry to see what can be done in terms of the food space itself, but business in general. So we have areas of crime and crime prevention which affect all businesses across Trinidad. So we'd be looking to see how direct interventions by the government, but also indirect policies could impact on that. So crime represents itself as a tax essentially on doing business. However, there may be ways to reduce the target on citizens and businesses back. So government support for things like a cashless society moves away from grants via check to direct deposit, would allow for consumers and businesses to have less cash within the ecosystem, thereby reducing targets. So it's to see what innovative ways the government can put across in this budget to tackle issues that have historically affected the country for the last 5, 10, 15 years.
Indeed, thank you so much. Let me ask, if indeed via the budget there is an increase on a particular item, let's say a luxury item, is that increase via what's declared in the budget reflected immediately in a change of price? How soon do you all send the price up, or is there a particular grace period? Walk me through the dynamics there.
So like any industry in Trinidad that may represent a price change, I suppose you mean in the form of an import tariff.
Yeah.
It would depends on the resilience of stock within the ecosystem of Trinidad and substitutions for that. So do suppliers, distributors, the stores themselves have stock already, and how long forward do we have in that product to be able to rally the existing price until incremental increases may occur from the point of importation, storage by the supplier, distribution into the store? Because not everything comes directly to a supermarket, but may go through a chain before it gets to us, then to the consumer.
Indeed.
So things will take months.
Yeah, understood. So, of course, budget day is Monday. You feel optimistic? I mean, everybody's going to be tuning in to really hear what's the particular direction. Are you optimistic? And more so, as we wrap things up, some more recommendations for the powers that be listening this morning.
Well, we're cautiously optimistic to see new ways to tackle existing problems. We have seen governments, oppositions come into government and not agree with the policies and approaches prior. We'll see what happens in this iteration of the budget. We understand that there is a call for increase in certain expenditures by way of perhaps a 10% increase or somewhere along the lines of an increase in public sector salaries. Is to see how that's balanced against other expenditures in the budget. May that affect the fuel subsidy and what effect that may have on costs and prices for everyone in the country. So we're waiting, we're hopeful, but cautiously.
That's right, that's right. Well, President Brew, I want to say sincere thanks. Let's see how things pan out on Monday, and I'm sure we will have a post-budget discussion soon after, you know, they dot the I's and cross the T's. So we stand by and we wait with bated breath. All the best.
Have a good day.
The president there of the Supermarket Association of Trinidad and Tobago, President Brew. Let's take the pause. We come back with your health tip for the day. See you soon.
Tile Depot Diwali sale on now. Stunning floors at dazzling prices. 12 by 12, $750. 17 by 17, $975. 18 by 18, $995. 20 by 20, $15.95. And 22 by 22, only $20. Visit Tile Depot Limited today at Badney Chase Village. Call 234-4402.
Millions of people are attacked by harmful mouth bacteria. The root cause of bad breath, gum problems, cavities, plaque, and tartar. That's why Colgate combined the best science and technology in Colgate Total. Unlike others, its superior formula fights bacteria and creates a powerful protective barrier for up to 24 hours to prevent them from coming back. Take control of your oral health with Colgate Total.
Need to upgrade to a better phone system? Contact the experts at Voice Outsourcing. In office or remote, our phone system allows you to take every call. Grow your bottom line by offering excellent customer service. Call 217-1895 or 628-8182 or email today.
Ho, 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 ho. Start the season sweet with Jimmy Abood's annual Christmas and October sale. Get up to 60% off on curtains, sheet sets, floor mats, upholstery fabric, and more. Shop now at the last big sale of the year.
Welcome to ABC Doors and Windows, TNT's #1 destination for the best quality and widest variety of doors and windows. Enhance your space with our steel security doors, complemented by our aluminum, UPVC, and steel windows. Shop for the best quality and service at ABC Doors and Windows. Visit our impressive showroom at 1 Chancatrace, El Socorro South, or call 638-7184 to get started. Trust ABC for a better choice.
Period nights don't have to look like this. Move less, wake up to change. So change for a real night's sleep with Always Overnight. Its 3 times protection system absorbs, locks the fluid, and keeps it away from your skin. For protected nights without leaks. Always.
Whether you're an athlete, a business professional, or simply someone who values their health, Omega XL can empower you to keep doing what you love. Don't let joint discomfort hold you back.
Live long, stay strong with the XL brand.
Muscle.
Let's get ready for the health tip for today. Enjoy.
The Daily Health Tip, brought to you by Omega XL, where health is wealth.
Welcome back to another powerful segment, Health Talk, where we go deeper into the root causes of today's most pressing health challenges. This ongoing series is proudly brought to you in partnership with Times Square Media, helping us bring expert-backed wellness education straight to your screen. If you've been following our inflammation series, today's deep dive into the pancreas and diabetes is one you don't want to miss. And don't forget, we've got more eye-opening content coming your way every week right here. Stay locked in. You probably think of high blood sugar and finger pricks, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. Managing blood sugar is important, but it's a symptom, not the root cause. The real story of type 2 diabetes starts long before sugar levels rise, with a hidden process, inflammation. Deep inside, inflammation quietly sets the stage for chronic disease years before any diagnosis. To understand this, meet your pancreas, the body's energy manager. Every meal triggers your pancreas to release insulin, the hormone that unlocks your cells so they can use sugar for energy. This system keeps your blood sugar stable until something disrupts it. The problem begins when insulin, the key, no longer fits the cell's lock. This breakdown is gradual, not sudden. High blood sugar is just the alarm bell. The real culprit is chronic, low-grade inflammation. This silent fire damages the locks and wears down the keys long before you notice any symptoms. Understanding inflammation is the first step to preventing or managing type 2 diabetes. Let's look deeper at how this hidden process disrupts your body's balance. Inflammation is your body's natural defense, but when it never shuts off, it becomes a problem. Chronic inflammation is fueled by modern life processed foods, stress, and lack of sleep. Sugary drinks, refined carbs, and unhealthy fats keep your immune system on high alert. Stress and poor sleep add fuel to the fire, making inflammation worse. Over time, this low-level emergency makes your cells less responsive to insulin, a condition called insulin resistance. Imagine trying to use a key in a rusty lock. The key's there, but it won't turn. Your pancreas works harder, but sugar starts to build up in your blood. Even before blood sugar tests show a problem, it's not just about food. It's your whole lifestyle affecting your cells. This sets the stage for the next phase, slow, silent damage. When faced with insulin resistance, your pancreas works overtime, pumping out more insulin to keep blood sugar in check. This can go on for years with no symptoms and normal test results. But the constant overwork exhausts the pancreas's beta cells. Chronic inflammation keeps attacking, creating a toxic environment and damaging these cells. Eventually, many beta cells die off and the pancreas can't keep up. Now, blood sugar rises, and that's when diabetes is finally diagnosed. The diagnosis feels sudden, but it's the result of a slow, silent decline. Type 2 diabetes is really about insulin resistance and beta cell failure, both driven by inflammation. To truly fight diabetes, we need to address this internal fire, not just the symptoms. The good news, you can reduce inflammation and protect your pancreas with simple changes. Focus on whole foods, colorful fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, and healthy unhealthy fats. Cut back on sugar, refined grains, and processed snacks. Move your body. Just a brisk walk each day helps your cells respond to insulin. Prioritize sleep and manage stress to lower inflammation. Supplements like Omega XL really helps, but they're no substitute for healthy habits. Real change comes from daily choices that protect your beta cells and improve insulin sensitivity. Always consult your doctor for a plan that fits your unique health needs. Proudly sponsored by XL Health TT Limited. This segment is for educational purposes only. Always consult your healthcare provider for personalized medical advice.
The Daily Health Tip, brought to you by Omega XL, where health is wealth.
Good morning and welcome. I'm Jesse Ramde with headline news here on CNC3 and the TBC Radio Network. Commissioner of Police Alistair Guevara received a judicial warrant yesterday for the apprehension of David Lee, Minister of Housing and Member of Parliament for Caroni Central, and Hugh Leong Poi, proprietor of Sport Outlet Limited. The warrants were filed by the Director of Public Prosecutions pursuant to Section 23(5) of the Indictable Offences Act, Chapter 1201. Both individuals were taken into custody by officers of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service and underwent standard processing procedure. Following receipt of the warrants, officers of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service acted in accordance with the legal mandate and executed the arrests without delay. The issuance of the warrants follow judicial authorization for the arrests as part of ongoing legal proceedings initiated by the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. Pharmacists are calling for a greater role in shaping the Health Ministry's revised chronic disease assistance program, saying their expertise is vital to improving patient care. Their call comes as 5 new drugs were added to the CDAP list. The Pharmaceutical Society says while the additions modernize treatment, there are concerns about cost and safe prescribing. They have also questioned the full replacement of simvastatin, a cheaper cholesterol drug, with rosuvastatin, warning it could strain government budgets and limit access. There are also calls for stricter monitoring of the blood thinner clopidogrel, which could pose risks if prescribed without follow-up. And while the society welcomes the expansion, its president says pharmacists are hoping for a meeting with Health Minister Dr. Lakram Bodo on its recommendations.
We understand him was his haste to make the change, but we would be grateful if we could be included on the decision making as a main stakeholder representing pharmacists as well, because we have RHA pharmacists, private pharmacists, institutional pharmacists in our membership, and we are the ones that drive education, and we would have liked him to include us on the future planning as well.
And former Prisons Commissioner Gerard Wilson says the trend of drones being used to deliver contraband into prisons is not a new phenomenon, as he was aware of criminals smuggling items during his own tenure. Wilson, who served as Prisons Commissioner from 2017 to 2020, says the use of drones has been a long-standing issue related to prison security. He says it is an issue that requires urgent attention.
We had a drone issue, and it was, of course, new to us because we didn't understand how effective it would have been from the side of the criminal element to get things into the prison. Because you would hear about drones, but then drones, in my view, has really improved in terms of its technology.
Well, those were 7am News headlines. We'll have another news update at 8 a.m. on the TBC Radio Network.
So inside the hour, we're going to touch base with, of course, the political leader of the IDA, Dr. Denise Soifat Angus, inside the Tobago Talks. So that's coming up for sure. When Tobago Talk, we always listen every single Wednesday. But before we get there, let's open the lines. Chance for you to touch base, 624-8721, 627-8658. So it's official. Budget Day is Monday. And as I mentioned inside the first hour, extensive budget coverage is happening right here on CNC3, starting with me on Monday from 6 to 8. God spare, I'll be here with you to take you through the early morning session. Then we have the midday news with Bhavita Gopalchan. Then Ryan Beach, matter of fact, steps in for the pre-budget special. Then we have the live reading of the budget. News at 7 with Ria, Jassy, and Jamark. And then, Ryan steps back for the post-budget analysis with a couple of major personalities to unpack all that we hear on Monday. That's Dr. Faizabad. Faizo, good morning.
Good morning, Brother Jason. How are you?
All is well, Faizo. I didn't see you Sunday. I went down to the harvest.
I come and look for you. I talked to your sister Rose. She told me you would have just left.
You serious? You leave? You reach after I leave? Oh, yes, gosh, Faizo.
Jason,
yeah, man.
Worth it, you know. When I listen to that police band, but it bring me back to the 80s, you know, Jason.
Yeah. You see, what happened? I left because I find it was taking long. The song check was taking so long, and I was saying, oh gosh, what's going on? And I should have really stayed a little bit longer. I really wanted to see a Faizo.
Jason, you talk about music by Jenny, Peanut Venda, all are Joey old tune.
No. The police band is a proper band. Proper band.
Yeah, man. When tell you, I enjoy myself. I'm going back 30 years, you know, Jason.
Oh, fantastic, man.
Oh, Lord Jesus. But I'm sorry I missed you because I had some goodies for you.
Serious?
I had to drink it out because I had some Heineken and some wild meat, but you leave and you're gone, brother.
Ooh, that boy, Faizo, boy. Hard luck, boy. You know, next time for sure.
Yeah, but anyhow, you know what I'm looking forward to in the budget, Jason? First and foremost, you see the people with little disability.
Yeah.
We have to look at them, Jason.
That 3,000 is not cutting it. I think it's about 3,000. That can't cut it.
No, Jason, you have people collecting $1,300,
$1,500,
$2,000. You know, I think it is. They have it in a structured kind of manner, but clearly it is not serving the purpose it is intended for. However, while I must say that we need to relook these social programs, I'll tell you why. Now, I run a business, and the kind of people, youths, I see coming and changing checks, Jason, we have to look at this thing. I mean, we use it for too many political gains and purposes and grant people all kind of benefits by who are not deserving. Then we have to look at it. We have to take a serious look at it. And I think if we do that and we give the people who it is intended for, it will serve a much better purpose. Let the young people come out and be productive, Jason.
Yeah, Faizo, I hear you loud and clear.
Take care, my brother. I hope we have some goodies in the bag and let me see how it goes from there.
For sure, most definitely.
Take care. Looking forward.
Miss Faizo, there by a couple minutes, yes? Need to meet Trigonas too. I've met Trigonas yet, but I met Ms. Diego Martin a couple weeks ago. So it's really good to kind of put a face on some of the callers. Also, Mr. Santa Cruz. I'd love to meet Mr. Santa Cruz someday. Let's see who's out there. Good morning.
Pleasant good morning, Jason.
Hey, Trigonas, welcome.
Good morning to you. All right. First of all, I want to say, in connection with what this Faizo was saying, it's not $3,000, actually it's $2,000 that the disability grant that the people receive, right? And that needs to be addressed. That needs to be looked at because really and truly, we are giving people a fighting chance, right? And as I would have said yesterday morning, as to where luxury items are concerned, I believe that all the blows could go on luxury items as where increase is concerned, right? And we are looking at the basic fundamentals of the country. I mean, we ain't gonna get everything done in one year, or should I say in the first budget, right? Because they build room in a day. But what is important is a step in the right direction, right? Relevant to addressing the needs of the less fortunate and the less fortunate and the broken in society. When I say broken where money is concerned, because I mean these people deserve a little bit more. If you understand what I'm saying, right? What I would like to say, we was discussing yesterday about the warships and everything like that, right? You see, Jason, I'll tell you something. You can't get out a no football game without a bruise. Right, so everything ain't going to be 100%. But what you have to look at is the bigger picture, right? And we have to look at the fact that Guyana is our CARICOM neighbors, right? And we have to support Guyana, right? Because Guyana have something to offer us, right? And I'm not saying that the Venezuelan, the Dragon gas deal doesn't have something to offer us, but our point was, our opinion was voiced last week, right, by the Diego Martin caller, when she said that how Ms. Posad said the Prime Minister would be begging Mudero. No, it's not a matter that, you see, I tell you something, nobody's begging anybody. Everybody stands to benefit from this. If I have a store, all right, listen to me good, if I have a store with goods and you have money, you want my goods, so you come into my store, I don't want your money also? Yeah, so everybody would benefit in this. Understand what I'm saying?
Let me ask you this, and I'm listening, but I'm trying to, because I was trying to go through the news cycle, and I was trying to say to myself, I can't recall, I don't know if you recall, so if you do, please let me know. One, I can't recall Guyana ever asking for our help, and two, I can't recall Guyana even making any comment on the fact that we are so willing to assist Guyana if Venezuela invades, which to me even is not even part of the conversation at this point in time. Yes, they would have had territorial disputes, and we know this, that is documented, but this whole talk of invasion of Venezuelan boots walking into Guyana and take it over, like if, you ever heard Guyana ask us for any help, Shogunas, honestly?
All right, well, I'll tell you this, right? There was never no talk about Venezuela invading Guyana. I never meant it in that way.
No. I know you didn't say it, but that is the talk that some of the leaders are perpetuating, saying that remember the Prime Minister says, if Venezuela interferes with Guyana, we will defend Guyana. That's what she says, but I'm saying to you, one, did Guyana ever ask for our help? Now, I don't know if it happened in private quarters. I wasn't there. I don't know what these leaders speak, so I don't know if that happened privately. And two, did Guyana even comment on the fact that we are so willing to assist them? That's what I'm asking.
All right, so Jason, you now answer your own question. You don't know, and I myself don't know. Understand what I'm saying? But actions speak louder than words, and what we are seeing here, we don't need to really hear anything. We just need to see and believe what is going on. You self answered your own question just now there when you said that, so you don't know what would have been said in private quarters. But basically, understand what I'm saying? Basically, they are our CARICOM neighbors, and they may not mean much to Jamaica. They may not mean, I'm not saying that they don't, but they may not mean much to Jamaica. They may not mean much to Barbados and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This is the next thing. Them is the next case by themselves, right? They may not mean much to them, right? But they mean a lot to Trinidad, and Trinidad means a lot to them. You may not see or hear in the paper or read in the papers, right, or see in the news, right? That you know what? That they are asking for help or anything like that, right? But we need to do what we need to do relevant to our CARICOM neighbors. Because I'll tell you this, Jason, because if it is we stand idly by and allow them to take something from Guyana, who is to say the next day or next 2 weeks, they ain't going to try and take something from us?
Well, yeah. Well, Shogunas, thanks for touching base. I'll tell you this, though, before I tell Diego Martin, I think it's such an interesting time, and this is beyond the dispute with Venezuela and stuff. The way we would have, and let's be real this morning, if we're honest with ourselves, the way we would have dealt with Guyana over the years, prior to their oil find and their renewed economic kind of potential, we used to kind of talk down and treat the Guyanese in a certain way, and now we have to go very, very soft-spoken and very humble to do business there and to treat with the potential that is indeed Guyana. So I think it's really a kind of changing, almost a kind of turning of the tide. And I guess probably all that's part of it, why we kind of pandering to them. Because let's be real, Guyana used to be the punchline of many a joke. We used to course on them. Listen, if I'm talking out of turn, let me know. We used to course on the Guyanese, and now we very settled and looking to do business because Guyana is on the up and up. Let's head to Diego Martin. Good morning.
Good morning, Jason. Good morning. A couple of things, and I'll address all the issues you're asking. First of all, you remember Mike Singh interview that you did with him?
Yeah, last week, yes.
That was an excellent piece of journalism, and I want to big you up on that, and I want you to replay it. Now, the Pandey administration in 1995 forgave Guyana debt of $100 million. So one particular political party in this country had a very good nexus with Guyana. That alone, that is when Guyana, as you rightly said, we used to scorn them. I could remember going to Barbados in a line, and they pulled me aside I was looking like a Guyanese, but if I opened my mouth, they pulled me aside and they treated the Guyanese badly.
Yeah.
And the Guyanese was going to build the houses of Owinata, building his houses. Now, the other thing I want to talk about, nobody is above the law, and the fact that that happened with a minister, I am hoping that the police is not complicit, because I think they fast-tracked that investigation at the expense of other investigation. The two Cayenne, the Seabridge that went bad. Remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
The merit list. All of those things was, I believe the police was complicit and there was an agenda. The third thing, the budget. I am happy the budget is going to be difficult, but I want one policy from the KCR government go forward with. Wean citizen of the government purse. And who I mean by weaning citizens. You see all them contractors and friends of government ministers, contractors, etc., who basically got rich out of contract, cleaning, all kind of things, power washing. Those are the people we have to win. And those are the people, I am glad the ACIB is under the Attorney General to go after everybody who misbehave in public office. There's a lot of it in the last regime. I go and have a nice morning. And up for that mic interview, play it back again, Jason. I tried to get it, I ain't get it. Because you will hear how the Venezuela is planning to invade Guyana. And if your neighbor house on fire, you don't ask them if you want help. You run with your hose and you help them. I go on. Have a nice morning.
All the best, Diego Martin. Thanks for touching base. Yes, there's been territorial disputes. We know this. It's well documented. But the talk of invasion is a different level. Invasion, we're talking boots on the ground, a taking over of resources and almost governance. I mean, when you say somebody invade your place, we're talking here, like they take over. And I mean, in that regard, I think Trinidad and Tobago and the entire Caribbean won't stand by and let that happen to our neighbors, Guyana. You know, obviously that's a cause for major concern. And yes, rightfully so, I guess the US and other entities who have interests in Guyana will step up. But I do think that's the scenario right now. The scenario right now is a war on drugs, quote unquote, and many suggest it's a war on drugs that might be the precursor for what many anticipate is regime change. So that's what we're looking at, and obviously we monitor the developments and we see what pans out in the weeks and months ahead. Tobago Talks, we head next door, across the road to the sweet sister Isle. The political leader of the IDA joins me next.
Folks, take a look at all these medical conditions. What does it have in common? This, ITIS. But what does ITIS really mean?
The suffix itis denotes inflammation of a specified organ or tissue.
ITIS really means inflammation. How do we combat chronic inflammation? Through lifestyle changes. Then, and only then, make sure you're getting enough omega-3 fatty acids.
Always consult a qualified medical professional before starting any supplements.
Magical Expressions Limited is the largest local importer and distributor of fresh cut stems, offering the widest range of beautiful flowers at the most affordable prices. Call us today at 701-6488, 701-6680, 728-6786, or visit our website to order.
You can make your goals unfold, go get it. You can live your dream, join the team, let's do this. You can get the help you need to succeed with Rand Credit Union. You can believe that you can achieve it. Big goals, small ones too. Rand Credit Union, we've got you. No more waiting, that won't do. Make someday today. One life, so make it good. Live the way you know you should. With Rand Credit Union, yes you could. Make someday today.
Live your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
Listen, every Wednesday, Tobago Talks, and when Tobago Talk, we listen. The political leader of the IDA, Dr. Denise Soifat Angus, joins me on the Zoom line. Of course, we know that Budget Day is Monday. Many will be looking on, especially Tobago, as to what will be the allocation. When we look at last year's allocation under a different administration, we found ourselves at $2.599 billion. I would imagine with the Chief Secretary's relationship, well, it seems to be way more cordial with this new administration compared to the last. I anticipate Tobago, I mean, as we say in local parlance, Tobago should get blessed up. Way better than what we saw last year, because I'm looking even more so at what happened where in June 23rd, the Secretary of Finance, Trade and Economy, Petal Roberts, would have requested a certain amount, and she would have made mention of the expenditure with about $1 billion being put aside for development in Tobago. So we'll treat with that lastly. Let's talk firstly on the budget, the allocation from last year, and do you anticipate there might be a greater allocation stepping into the Tobago space based on the current dynamic and relationship of the Chief Secretary and the current administration? And as always, great to see you. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to your listening and viewing audience. You know, the Prime Minister and her cabinet would be between a rock and a hard place, because we know the challenges within the country right now in terms of our you know, the Prime Minister already said she's running a deficit budget. So there are challenges there, and yes, there is a relationship between what appears to be a better relationship between the Prime Minister and the Chief Secretary. And so we are left to see whether that pans out into something greater, if something greater can be afforded to be given at this time.
Indeed, and to the second point I made in my opening there, so 3.71 was the request, that's billion, from the Secretary of Finance, Trade and Economy. 2.71 would have been recurrent expenditure, and we know lots of the budget for Tobago is to deal and to treat with people in THE and the staff really and truly, all right? But I'm seeing about $1 billion put aside for development. Have you seen any kind of development? Do you anticipate that $1 billion could bring much needed development to this style Tobago?
I am happy that you put forward that a large part of the budget is really about paying staff in the THA, and we know that this is an election year, so we wait to see how that part is playing out inside of the budget, whether they will have an election budget to deal with. But additionally, you talk about the development, and when the THA came out with that as part of their first debate to send down, I asked, you know, what development are you referring to? If you can't lay out for the people of Tobago the pillars that you're working within, pillars that you know will gain us some traction, then what exactly are you laying out? Development is not just about putting up buildings. Development is about investing on programs where you can get your returns on investment. And I have not seen sufficiently where they have been able to demonstrate their understanding of that concept, and that, you know, $1 billion, they're probably looking to put it into roads, infrastructure, that sort of stuff. And we have to move past that. That is not getting us what we need to have right now. When you look at it, the tourism sector has failed. It continues to fail. Tobago has to look at a different type of tourism model. We have to look at more of a long-stay tourism model, or a tourism model that deals with the export of professional services, such that you bring people to the island that ends up in a long-stay situation. And that is what you need right now. Additionally, this cannot be in isolation of national policies. It is time that the government of Trinidad and Tobago and the government in Tobago understand that we have to work hand in hand to create national policies for diversification that includes Tobago's voice from the start, that you don't just sit in a vacuum, create policies, and then say, okay, those are the policies over there. They have to sit together and create national policies. And to give an example, if we're talking about long-stay tourism, then we have to look at our immigration laws to be able to deal with that. What is the government's policy to facilitate long-stay tourism? We have an airport coming. What is the policy that would facilitate programs that would attract people to the destination? Because people are not coming to the destination just to see a new airport in Tobago. So we have to have key policies that would assist Tobago in its development thrust going forward.
There are many who suggested Tobago could be a great destination for digital nomads, and they were making, that particular, putting that in the domain, the public domain, and putting it out there. And I guess the question is, if indeed that's the case, is there the capacity in terms of connectivity? Could you see that as something viable in the immediate future if indeed, we free up the, as you rightfully said, the immigration, the coming in, make the process easy? Is that even something possible?
Absolutely, and you now have to also work with your connectivity partners to ensure that that is something that is made available for Tobago. You have to work with WASA, because you can't be having digital nomads here and for a week and a month you can't get water. They have to be toting water just like people are doing in Tobago right now. So you understand when I say the policies have to match and be rolled out to accommodate the thrust in Tobago, knowing fully well that when Tobago wins, Trinidad and Tobago will win, because it means that you're now acknowledging that you have to re-emphasize, move away a bit from the oil and gas industry that has become quite unpredictable, and look at Tobago as one of the pillars that would be poised to make a significant contribution to the GDP and to the diversification efforts of the country.
So this 2.599 billion that was allocated last year and the billions that went before, have you seen any major change, any shifting of the needle in Tobago in the last probably 4 or 5 years? And more so, after you treat with that question, what do you think is the appropriate figure to really take Tobago to the next level? So let's treat with the first question. Any development in the last couple of years based on the billions given to Tobago?
No.
Nothing at all? There's no building, no kind of infrastructure you could speak to?
Again, we go back to buildings as development. So yes, there's been a roundabout built, yeah? But when you're looking at development, you also have to look at the statistics of development, which would be your indicator of your GDP per capita.
So you're looking at human capital, the development of the people.
Of course, because it doesn't make sense that you have highways and buildings and the people are starving, which is what is occurring right now in Tobago. When people go to the grocery, they can buy much less with the money that they have. A lot more persons are on the breadline now than they were before, a number of years ago. And these are the statistics that even this administration has put out as part of their budget. And so, there has been a significant decrease, yes, in the country, a 23% decline. But in Tobago, there's also been a significant decline in our economic viability on the island. And therefore, if you're looking at development, we are worse off than we have been in the past.
And in terms of the second question, what do you think will be the appropriate figure to really move the needle to ensure there is development of human capital, but also development of the island? Because I've heard, other than the water woes, I'm hearing, and I saw firsthand couple months ago, I know Tobago Road used to be smooth. Dr. Soifat Angus, I seen some potholes there. I'm saying I should get something and pave to Tobago. I was taken aback with the condition of some parts of the road. I mean, I don't know the entire island. What's the condition, let's say, down Charlottesville and on the other coast, but at least in that main stretch there heading to Scarborough, some potholes there caught me by surprise.
And that is also the second challenge that we're having: access and transportation for people to do and to do work with ease, to get to work, to get to their businesses. And even I have had to change tires frequently over the past 4 years because the potholes are there. They're sufficiently large. You can barely see them, especially in poorly lit areas. You're dropping into them in the middle of the night, and by morning your tire is gone. So we do have that challenge where your actual maintenance program was also not dealt with. We do see some rushing to pave roads right now as part of the old style politics again. You know, people clamored for change with this new administration, but what we clearly seen is that we got an exchange. The same type of, eve of an election, you rush and pave a road. It's the same sort of thing that we are seeing now, and we have to begin operating differently. Even in Trinidad, the same thing occurs at that level. And we have to start approaching our budgeting process differently to get a different result. If I were the Prime Minister, I would ensure that the budgeting is not just done in an isolated type of silo arrangement, but that you have a parliamentary call for people to come in, just like your Joint Select Committee, for people to come in, lay their case as to how they think the country should develop, what things they expect to see, and therefore be able to put all of that together and let us develop the country together as a people, not in a silo as, a central government there doing everything and then you just bring it, and because you have the majority, you go with it. And it's the same thing happening in Tobago. There was no meaningful consultation with the people of Tobago, and I'm not just talking about sectors, I'm talking about communities, what the people in communities want to see for their communities. What expectation can they have? What portion of the budget can they see that will be allocated for the development within their communities? Development in such a way that can bring them returns on investment in their communities.
Well, Dr. Denise Soifat Angus, I want to thank you as always for giving us some perspective. I mean, many in Trinidad, we really don't know of the perils. Many who will come to the Sister Isle for a weekend will see, I guess, the flash and the nice living, and most actually in Trinidad think that Tobago, everybody in Tobago is on a level. So to hear of these trying times, it's alarming to many. But I want to thank you for bringing some clarity, and let's have a post-budget discussion after they crunch the figures, and see if we can make it work.
Thank you. Yeah. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, all the best. That's right. So definitely budget around the corner, and lots of discussion as mentioned. Next Monday from the time I start from 6 a.m. right down to Ryan Bay through at 7:30. It's going to be an entire day of budget coverage on the 13th. God spare. Up next, Dr. Catherine Minto-Bain, award-winning Dr. Catherine Minto-Bain, yes, the medical director of the TTIVF. She is your IWFTT Inspirational Champion of Women 2025. We discuss that and so much more with Dr. Minto-Bain.
Enough of the #1 comedy of 2025. You don't need file to watch Corn. It's now at Cipriani College on Saturday. Saturday the 11th of October at 8:30 p.m. and Sunday the 12th at 6:30 p.m.
Dance show is real bacchanal.
Tickets available now at the usual outlets and at the Cipriani College box office from Wednesday 8th of October, 12 noon to 6 p.m. daily.
Don't play mad and miss this show, you know.
I see that show 3 times. Jenna is the best.
You don't need phone to watch corn. The bacchanal continues.
To watch corn.
Things don't always go as expected. Be ready with Trinry for auto, home, business and group life. Call us at 800-TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Huge insurance premium. Pay your premiums bit by bit with FlexiPay from Trinry. For more manageable auto, home and commercial insurance payments, call us at 800-TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Trinry. Premier insurance coverage for less.
I have been shopping at Price Club from the beginning. I love most of all the friendliness of the staff.
I shop there because my children love meat and I love.
My favorite section is the vegetarian section. They have such a wide variety, which I love.
I have been out shopping, to check out the prices, but here at the Lewis, it's the best.
I have tried other places and I came right back to Price Club because they are the low price leader.
At Cruise Inn Hotel and Yachting Center, we're all about time. In fact, once you check in, there's no time to lose. Reconnect with a little family time. Make a splash with some pool time. Spend some treasured quality time. Or just immerse yourself in some quiet time. Indulge your senses at dinner time. We even have the perfect venue when it's your celebration time. So it's high time you visit Cruise Inn. Choose our day pass or call 607-4000 to make your dinner or hotel reservations or to find out more about our event spaces. Take a time out at Cruise Inn Hotel and Yachting Center.
Are you tired of the same old boring drive home from work? Look no further. Get ready for the ultimate after-work rush with Freedom 106.5 FM's The Overdrive with Davey. Mondays to Fridays from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Let Davey take you on a thrilling ride of non-stop entertainment and education. He covers the topics of the day, delves into the latest food and lifestyle trends, and brings dynamic guests from exciting professions to share their professional stories and experiences. Take advantage of this energizing and engaging experience. Tune into Freedom 106.5 FM, Mondays to Fridays, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. for The Overdrive with Davey, the ultimate way to end your day with a bang.
Well, I could safely say this morning we have with us the award-winning Dr. Catherine Minto-Bain. Yes, fresh off the heels of the IWFTT Inspirational Champion of Women. And, when you receive, well, a matter of fact, when your name was mentioned, Lisa Egard was here a couple of weeks ago. And I know they had the grand gala at the Hyatt, and I saw the picture in the papers, and, I said, wow, we said our very own, when Lisa mentioned your name, I said that's our very own because, we have all our discussions and we're so happy for you, so proud. And what a beautiful award. I don't know, Sheldon, if you could capture this. It is the Hummingbird. It's made of glass. I don't even want to hold it. Let me be very careful. I want Dr. Minto-Bain here to, it's beautiful. It almost looks transparent, huh? Yes. Doc, congratulations.
JW, thank you. It was such a huge honor to get this award. It really was. It's, absolutely joyous evening.
Let's talk about the gown now. Designed by who? Let's talk about the look, the drip. So
the dress is by Shoma, the label, a beautiful Trinidadian designer. She's just alongside Fatima School is her design studio. I mean, her work is incredible. So it was a joy to wear her work. Yeah. I wore Trinidadian jewelry. Actually, I've got some jewelry on today, all local. And I was with those two other amazing women. There were three of us that got the award that night. So that's Susan Lacan-Baptiste and Maya Kirti-Nanan. They got Advocacy Award, Inspirational Advocate, and Inspirational Emerging Leader. It was an amazing evening.
And you delivered some remarks also.
I got to give a speech, yes.
What was the theme of your remarks?
I mean, it was talking about what this award means. So just in case people don't know, IWFTT, the International Women's Forum of Trinidad and Tobago. It's a group of some of the best women in TNT, kind of the movers and shakers, trailblazers, leading women. And they connect, they bring women together, but they also are empowering the next generation. And they have an annual awards ceremony. And I know Lisa Agard, the president, was here talking last week with you. So my speech was really about what does this award mean to me? What am I going to do? How does it make me feel? And it made me feel energized.
Indeed, and you've really brought this conversation, you've normalized the conversation, and in essence, the TTIVF is in a way your baby. Yes, no pun intended there. When you receive awards and you look back on the work done, there is a sense of pride and determination, but also I would imagine there must be that renewed purpose and passion going forward. So what's the future really? Did this award give you a moment to also ponder on tomorrow and the future?
It absolutely did, and I think that was one of the nicest things. Sometimes you have to be reminded of why you do what you do, and this award made me think, okay, well, it's a village. It doesn't take one person to make a baby. I have the most amazing team of women that work with me, and two slightly outnumbered men. Shout out to them today, but we have an amazing group of women at TTIVF. We strive for the best standards. They work incredibly hard, and so it energizes me to think, okay, how do we bring up the next generation? How do we train the next generation? More than that, though, JW, it's how do we talk more about infertility? What you and I are doing here, our mornings on TV, bring infertility into people's homes, because there's so much in the Caribbean specifically that's misunderstood about fertility issues. People are left on their own. They don't understand. They don't have the awareness. And the stigma, the huge stigma around it.
I think, there's also a sense of, people are a bit quiet about it, probably sometimes even embarrassed, and I guess that's why these conversations are able to bring folks out of that dark space. We normalize the conversation and let folks know that it's okay to come in and ask questions and seek assistance. And I guess in that regard, you've helped people with infertility for decades. What brings you your greatest joy? What's your biggest takeaway when you have your quiet moment at night before you settle in to rest for the evening, or if you're just in a relaxed mode wherever and you ponder on your work? What brings you a certain sense of, I'm in the right place at the right time?
This award really made me sit and think about that. I've been in Trinidad and Tobago now for over 20 years. You're right, 2 decades. My amazing husband brought me here, and at the end of my award, I thanked him because this is a place I belong. And the joy is every single story of a couple or a person getting that baby, often against really difficult odds. At the awards ceremony, one of my lovely old patients came up to me, and you just meet people everywhere. Just before I was about to go on stage, she said, "Doc, you won't remember me." And of course, you do. You remember every face. You won't know the story straight away. And she showed me a picture of her 17-year-old daughter, and the joy in her eyes, I get a little piece of that every day at work. We all do in the IVF center. So it's about, the joy of the job is it's deeply satisfying. It's really hard. I won't say it's easy to run an IVF unit and get accredited every year and stick to the highest standards around the world. That's part of what this award is about. Lifting standards, training people, and keeping on doing the work.
So I always ask you, anybody ever requested that you are godmother? Anybody ever asked you to be godmother to their child?
Some people have, yes. We get invited to christenings. There are a couple of Kathy babies, but Nurse Gabby, I think Gabby's got more Gabrielle babies than I've got Kathy babies.
Also, serious people would have named the daughter
yes.
Catherine?
And I love that, yes.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Amazing. That's so cool. So, in terms of women's health care and again, men's health care too, because IVF is not just a woman's issue here, as you would have mentioned. And I mean, I learned so much with our conversations that we men too also need to check on ourselves. What's your vision in terms of keeping the conversation going and making it even more accessible?
Yeah, very much want to keep that conversation going for men and women so that everybody, every person who wants to have a baby, we really at TTIVF want them to have that baby, want to be able to increase access so that people don't not come along because they don't have awareness. We want to increase awareness. We're working hard on finance, so getting more accessible treatment is partly financial, and it's about breaking down the stigma so people can even walk through the door or pick up that phone. You know, that's the hardest step really, but when you make that step, I'm going to say to everybody, you're not alone. And when you make that step, you begin to find out, you break down it little by little. You know, you bite into the elephant little by little to find out what the problems are. It suddenly becomes something you can do.
Amazing. Let's put Dr. Minto Bain's picture up again from the awards. I mean, I'm looking at the drip. That's the new way of saying the outfit. You know, the drip is on point. you look glamorous, and you said local designer, local jewelry, and you went up there. You know, all the awardees too. Congrats to all the ladies. But indeed, well done, well done. I could imagine this was probably a beautiful moment. Any kind of recognition for your work over the years, or is this the first?
I've had awards before. I've had awards from patient groups. I've had different awards over the years, but this is an award from my peers, my women in Trinidad and Tobago, who I admire hugely. To get this blew my mind, and I feel now indebted to them to just get on and help the next generation of women. It's empowering. It's wonderful.
Where at home you have placed this amazing
So the discussion is whether it's at home or at work, both places. So at the moment it's proudly at home, as everyone walks into the house, but I think it'll be in my office come in a few months' time when I've stopped looking at it every day.
Fantastic. Anything you want to mention as we wrap up the conversation this morning?
I'd just like to say thank you to IWFTT, Lisa Agard, the president, everyone on the committee. Thank you for this award. It strengthens my desire to go out and do more for Trinidad and Tobago from a fertility point of view, from the work we do at the shelter for women. And I was inspired by Maya and Susan. Congratulations to both of you. Susan, with your turtles in Matura, your protection of the turtles. Maya, autism, doing autism for your brother, and the amazing work you're doing with supporting adults and children with autism. Everybody, IWFTT does an amazing job. Go and check them out.
Dr. Catherine Minto Bain, touching base, and of course, you've seen the number there on screen, so you can feel free, touch base. Gabby, is Gabby right?
We have 5 nurses actually. Nurse Gabrielle is one of your amazing nurses to talk to, but we've got Mel, Shada, Cindy, Nazreen, Jasodra. Actually, the admin ladies on the phone, they are fertility trained as well. Anyone on the phone or anyone can help you.
Good stuff indeed. Always a pleasure. Great to see you again, and sincere congratulations.
JW, thank you.
Indeed. Dr. Catherine Minto Bain making her exit, and we make some space and make some room for Fire Officer Jude. Of course, he's here to treat with Fire Prevention Week 2025, a very important discussion ahead. Acting Fire Sub-Officer Jude Rogers, he joins me next.
Okay, I see you. Okay, let me see you, Cherry Hill. Yeah, now take it back. Let me see you rock off, shake off, shake off. Let me see you rock off, rock off. Let me see you kick right, now kick left, now step forward, now step back. Lucozade, bring the energy.
Millions of people are attacked by harmful mouth bacteria. The root cause of bad breath, gum problems, cavities, plaque, and tartar. That's why Colgate combined the best science and technology in Colgate Total. Unlike others, its superior formula fights bacteria and creates a powerful protective barrier for up to 24 hours to prevent them from coming back. Take control of your oral health with Colgate Total.
In Hinduism, cow's milk is revered, and from the finest milk comes our ghee. When offered into the sacred fire, cow ghee carries our prayers to the deities, unlike processed vegetable ghee. From your devotion to your delicious dishes, you can trust Anchor Cow Brand Ghee. For all occasions, use the best ghee. Enjoy the best food and delicacies, and have the best Diwali with Anchor Cow Brand Ghee.
Are you tired of the same old boring drive home from work? Look no further. Get ready for the ultimate after-work rush with Freedom 106.5 FM's The Overdrive with Davey. Mondays to Fridays from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Let Davey take you on a thrilling ride of non-stop entertainment and education. He covers the topics of the day, delves into the latest food and lifestyle trends, and brings dynamic guests from exciting professions to share their professional stories and experiences. Take advantage of this energizing and engaging experience. Tune into Freedom 106.5 FM, Mondays to Fridays, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. for The Overdrive with Davey, the ultimate way to end your day with a bang.
Make sure you have yourself a great investment week by viewing The Boss Report every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. during CNC3's The Morning Brew. You'll get sound financial advice, whether you're a new or experienced investor, when you view The Boss Report. CNC3, covering your world.
Each day I ask myself, how can our country be better than it was yesterday? We all hope for a better society, but not many understand the power of their influence to change the world around them. A small act of kindness holds as much power as a camera, a mic, or even a seat in the parliament when it comes to achieving societal development. I understand that my purpose extends beyond being a mere observer. I am an active participant in shaping the world around me. From the stories I write to the newscast I produce, it is my hope that everyone is heard and understood. We are where you are.
Filmmakers, producers, content creators, influencers, and recording artists. If you're looking to rent a versatile studio space with green screen, video wall, cyclorama, and more, look no further. GM Labs is here to make your dreams a reality. Located in the heart of Port of Spain on St. Vincent Street, GM Labs is your one-stop shop for all your creative needs with over 2,800 square feet to work with. Take your creative concept to the final product at GM Labs. Give us a call or WhatsApp or message us on our Instagram and Facebook pages at GM Labs TT.
Well, we mentioned Jude was going to be here with us, but he's not here with us this morning. But we have two of our, I would say, hardworking, established fire officers. They represent the fire service, and we welcome with us, of course, Al Shallow and David Hunt. And they're here to discuss lithium battery safety inside the Fire Prevention Week 2025. Officers, I want to thank you so much for the time, and I look forward to the council. As it pertains to lithium batteries, what are some of the major do's and don'ts as it pertains to a battery? Because I've heard it could be a fire hazard. So I'll probably start with Officer Shallow, then I'll transition across to Officer Hunt.
Good morning again. We have a number of issues, do's and don'ts. In terms of overcharging the batteries, don't place them on combustible surfaces while they're being charged. Don't leave them exposed to heat. If they damage and stuff like that, discard them in the appropriate manner, and these sorts of things that relate to fire-related incidents.
What about, let's say, heat exposure, Officer Hunt? Because I mean, I know that there are even concerns with batteries on planes. They tell you, they actually have to ask you if you have batteries and stuff. So I know that's a concern with that sector. But when we talk about our home, our climate, the kind of heat that we endure, what's the concern in that regard?
One of the common areas where you'll get heat exposure is leaving your phone in your vehicle. So sometimes you go on the Savannah, just have to pick up doubles, stop to pick up your child at school, preschool, etc., and they leave your phone in your car. Sometimes it's in the line of direct sunlight. And as such, it is a very serious safety hazard with lithium-ion batteries, especially a device with a lithium-ion battery in it.
You know, many people charge their phone on their bed. They have it on the sofa. Is that problematic?
Yes, it is. It causes process called thermal runaway, where the battery is when it's overcharged, right? It creates a process called thermal runaway, where the cells, where the electrochemical properties within the cell malfunctions and overheats and cause a fire to happen.
What are some of the telltale signs? So, I mean, obviously, Officer Shallow there mentioned, you know, it could cause issues if you're overcharged, if it's overheating, but what are some of the definite telltale signs that, you know what, I need to replace this battery, something is a bit off? Is it that you get a smell? Is it that you see physically something going on with the said battery?
So a lot of these batteries operate smart devices. So sometimes there's a program within the device to tell you a faulty battery, you know, time to change. Other signs of fault within the battery is swelling of the battery.
Swelling, I would imagine.
Discoloration of the battery. Overheating of the device. Or the device is not functioning as it was designed. So once you've seen that these things are happening with your device, chances are you need to take it to a specialist, let them check it out, and most likely it's the battery being at fault.
What about, let's say, e-scooters? Because I'm seeing lots of people now utilizing the e-scooters, lots of different vehicles, recreation and otherwise, use batteries to operate. What's your advice in that regard?
So first, when you get these type of devices, follow the manufacturer's guidelines. Right? Make sure that when they're charged, they use the manufacturer provided charging devices. Right? You don't have them charging with incombustible material, even though these e-scooters where you store them, because sometimes the e-scooters have been known to cause fire in residential homes. Right? And use the vehicles as they were designed. So if your manufacturer says not to be used in rainy weather, don't go out in the rain and ride the e-scooter to go to the shop or go down the road to, you know, to do your stuff.
What about people using generic chargers to charge some of these batteries? Could that be a problem?
Yes, it is a problem. It's best you go back to the manufacturer's use or get the appropriate, take back your device to the company and try to get the appropriate standard type charging port or even the block to recharge your devices.
And finally, Officer Hunt, where can folks go to get information? How could they engage with the fire service to just be in the know, basically? Because again, it's Fire Prevention Week, but batteries, as we know, everybody have a phone, and people sometimes, just errors, you know, just minor errors that could cause such major damage.
Major damage. Right, so the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Service have fire prevention departments in the divisions of the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Service. There's one in Tobago, there's one in Central Division, Southern Division, and the Northern Division. The fire prevention departments are the leading section of the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Service with public safety education. So anything that anybody wants to know in relation to lithium-ion batteries, electrical safety, alarm and detection systems, fire extinguishers, contact the Fire Prevention Department and we'll have somebody deal with you.
Officer Shallow, Officer Hunt, sincere thanks. Again, they represent the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Service. Never services, always service. And, you know, kudos to these gentlemen. You know, these men put their lives at risk, put their everything there on the line for service to country, and we thank them for the contribution. Let's take that pause and we come back to wrap things up. See you soon.
Things don't always go as expected. Be ready with Trinry for auto, home, business and group life. Call us at 800 Trin or visit trinry.com today. Huge insurance premium. Pay your premiums bit by bit with FlexiPay from Trinry. For more manageable auto, home and commercial insurance payments, call us at 800 Trin or visit trinry.com today. Trinry, premier insurance coverage for less.
Would you recommend this product to younger people?
Age doesn't really matter. So I think if I was 17, 18 and I get introduced to these products, I would maybe be Superman. So
More Superman?
More Superman.
Absolutely outstanding.
So today, Chris, we are talking about screening and cancer.
The top 5, so breast in women, and of course in men, prostate cancer. We have colorectal cancers and lung cancers being the heavy hitters. And then especially in our young population is cervical cancer. So approximately 40% of patients actually present with stage 4 disease at diagnosis. Afro-Caribbean as well as Afro-American patients have a higher risk of having aggressive prostate cancer.
Tune in on CNC3 this Friday at 8 p.m.
Indeed, another tremendous installment of the Morning Brew. Thank you so much for tuning in. God spare, I'm back for more tomorrow. And remember, next Monday, Monday the 13th, it's budget day and the action starts with me at 6. Later on, Bavita steps in for the midday news. Ryan steps in from 12:15 thereabout for the pre-budget analysis. The budget will give you the coverage. And then from 7 o'clock, more coverage. And from 7:30, Ryan is back for the post-budget breakdown. So that's happening next Monday right here on your number one source for news and current affairs, CNC3. Have a great and productive day, TNT.
The Morning Brew is brought to you by Omega XL. Live long, stay strong.
You're watching CNC3. The views and opinions expressed in the following program are not necessarily those of CNC3.
I thought I was feeling fine and, I didn't really need to use it because I really was feeling a whole lot better.